I was living in St. Albans, West Virginia, and contemplating making a move to Dallas. But in the meantime, I was traveling around the country preaching. And I was traveling by myself, everywhere, all the time. And sometimes by the time I got back to my room, I was wet and I was tired. One time, I was so tired, I slid down the wall onto the floor and fell asleep in my clothes, wet. But I traveled by myself. When I got back home, a gentleman named Holloway Gray, who was my senior deacon at the time, came to me and said, I want to quit my job and go with you and travel with you everywhere you go. And I said, that's nice. But I wasn't really sure I wanted nobody to travel with me everywhere I went. That's number one. Number two, you got a good job working for Columbia Gas Company, and you've been there a long time, and you're going to get a pension, you're going to be well. I don't want to be responsible for a setback. Number three, I'm living by faith. I don't know what's going to happen from day to day, and I don't want to invite you into the vortex of this faith experience, because this is not for the faint of heart. Sometimes it's feast, and sometimes it's famine. Sometimes they don't tell you the truth, and sometimes the check bounce. Hi, Denise. I didn't know you were sitting out there talking about her husband. Yeah, he was my best friend. And Holloway had a temper. So I don't know what about my answer gave him an attitude, but he had an attitude. I mean a big old attitude. He said, I'm just as called to my ministry as you are to yours. Got smart with me, walked out the door and slammed the door and went on about his business. And I thought to myself, could that be possible? That somebody is actually called to help you? See, I was used to be surrounded by people who were called to help themselves. And it sounded foreign to me that somebody could feel that convicted about helping you. And as we traveled, we went all over the world together. We went all over the world through time zones, in airplanes, in helicopters, in boats, in canoes, with water, no water, with toilets, no toilets. We went everywhere together. And as he would go from place to place, people would tell him, you won't be a preacher. He said, no, I'm not. He said, I'm not going to be no preacher. They recognized that there was an anointing on him, and they wanted to ascribe an assignment to him, but he was so sure of his purpose that he did not see being a preacher as an elevation if it meant forsaking his purpose. It is rare to find somebody who is sure that they are living on purpose, that you are doing that thing that you were created to do, that thing that releases endorphins when you do it, that thing that gives you energy when you do it, that thing that makes you innovative and creative when you do it, that thing that you think about and you enjoy doing and you don't even realize you're working because you're doing the thing you were created to do. The thing that God has inventoried you with talents and gifts and resources that accommodate what he designed you to do in the earth. That thing is your purpose. And whether it's a big thing or a small thing, to settle into your purpose is to be comfortable in your own skin, to be sure of yourself, to be envious of no man, to know that God has put you in a place where he wanted you to be, and you are at your best when your feet are planted right in the center of your purpose. When you are in your purpose, the check is just a byproduct of the blessed assurance of knowing that you are doing the thing that you are created to do. And when we talk about purpose, most people, there is a certain, Paul uses in the text the word mystery. There's a certain mystery as to whether I am living on purpose or not. Am I in my purpose? Am I doing the thing I was created to do? Because most of the time, we only acknowledge the purpose of God in what we call big things. But sometimes the purpose of God is demonstrated in big things, and other times the purpose of God is demonstrated in small things. The little maid, you would have never thought that she was living on purpose. She was making up the bed, but God had planted her in close proximity to Naaman's wife because she knew Elijah. And she didn't write any books of the Bible. She didn't prophesy. She didn't do anything. She was just in her purpose, in the right place at the right time, on station, ready to do something that only she could do. And she saved the king because she made the bed. For some people, the purpose of God is to raise a child that nobody could raise but you. But you have the giftings and the grace and the wherewithal and the wisdom to raise that child, to guide them through danger seen and unseen. And you are not just a mother because you gave birth. You're a mother because you're filled with all the tenacity that's necessary to raise that child to completion. Every woman can have a baby, but every woman is not a mother. Or the little boy, had he skipped church that day with his 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, who would have known that he would have wrecked the whole service and shut down the meeting had he not been on place with a sandwich? Or David, who goes down to bring lunch to his brethren, never realizing that he is living on purpose in leaving the sheep and carrying a lunch. He enters into another dominion of purpose because he was obedient in the small things. God made him ruler over many things because he wasn't trying to be big. He was trying to be in his purpose. Lift your hand and say, me and my purpose.